I am Jozeppi Angelo Morelli. My pronouns are he, him, and his. I identify as a trans queer man, and I'm a member of Middle. I currently live in Sedona, Arizona, which is on indigenous sacred soil of the Yavapai Apache Nation and the Hopi tribe. I want to say to all my transgender, non-conforming, and binary siblings, I love you. Yesterday was a challenging day for all of us as we remembered and honored 375 of our siblings around the world who died this year from violent anti-trans prejudice and hate. This included at least 46 people in the United States. It has been our deadliest year yet. Once again, the majority of those killed were our strong, courageous, beautiful Black and brown trans women. Devastating, but unfortunately not surprising. To you, my Middle community, I want to share a bit of my story. After many years of questioning, learning, growing, I began transitioning in 2011. Recently, I medically transitioned. So the next step for me was to change my legal name. I really wanted to be intentional about my name. So I had to go back to the day I was born. You see, I'm adopted. The information sent to me by Catholic Charities was profound and life-changing. My biological mother was married to a man who abused her, and they were separated. She had 3 other children by her husband, but he was not my dad. I am a child, a love child. She gave birth to me in the house by herself and kept me for a short period of time before I was put in the orphanage. She did name me. She named me that she chose for me meant God's messenger, born in a sea of sorrow. I guess she saw the divine in me and the narrative of sorrow fit. So when I was ready to change my name, I wanted to change the energy around how I started in this world, but also honor my biological mother. She must have been a strong, amazing woman to have had me by herself, say no to domestic violence in the 60s, to let me go in love. I just recently named myself Jozeppi Angelo, which means God will add to the messenger. And God added another gender to me, to this messenger. According to Psalm 139, God gives us a customized divine blueprint. No divine blueprint is the same, and no divine blueprint is the same, and one divine blueprint is not better than the other. There is no doubt in my mind today that my divine blueprint was to live in this lifetime as both male and female. But it was and is up to me to have that discernment of how to live into that blueprint. In recent years, I have leaned into my identity by listening to the indigenous Native Americans and being welcomed into their lives and their communities. I also have learned the historical narrative of our LGBT non-binary siblings, and I now see and know my truth and have the courage to completely step into my divine blueprint. You see, friends and family, I learned that LGBT non-binary people were called two-spirited by the indigenous Native Americans. We were revered. They thought Great Spirit gave us special healing powers and special gifts to help lead the tribes. Some tribe members would visit a two-spirited person instead of a medicine man. This learning was profound, part of my own healing. However, it all changed when European white colonizers came to our Turtle Island. They saw we had power, and instead of embracing us, they called us evil and believed we were abominations. They burned us and killed us. Here we are hundreds of years later, and this is still happening. I'm heartbroken over this. I'm frustrated. I have an ache in my chest. This brings me back to a time, a song that Shania Knoll sang, and my friends sang it at the last retreat I was in New York at a Reiki retreat. I attended it before I moved from New York to Sedona over 4 years ago. I had just come to the place of being and understanding that I'm a he, a male and a female body. I felt unseen. And so the words, and I know a lot of you will connect to this. How could anyone ever tell you you are anything less than beautiful? How can anyone ever tell you you are less than whole? How can you fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you are connected to my soul. Those last lines, how can anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you are connected to my soul. They sang this song over and over again. I broke wide open. I sobbed. I know my siblings understand this right now. We need to accept and honor all the divine beings. And we're not there yet. I actually had someone in a church, in a community that claimed to be affirming both to Black and brown bodies and the LGBTQIA2S community, and asked me what Black trans women were doing to get themselves killed. I was shocked. I was angered, but I knew I had to be articulate and answer this in love. And my answer was nothing. Everyone wants to be seen, heard, loved, and have the opportunity to thrive. White supremacy culture has taken that away from every marginalized group in this country, especially Black and brown-bodied and trans human beings. But there's hope. I love our millennials, our Gen X, our Gen Z, our non-binary siblings. I only had to tell them once who I am, and they see me. They embrace me. They unite with me. I think they might be made with 5D thread and the rest of us with 3D and 4D thread. Why can't the older generation connect to us? Is it the programmed lies about ourselves or themselves or about the specific groups of people? Or is it because they can't connect to my divine because they don't connect to their divine? I invite you all to consider where each of you is on this. I also ask you to do me a favor today. After the service, pick 2 names from the list of who we are memorializing today. Read their narratives. Say their name out loud and change their narrative. Give them some love because their end of their life was full of racism, hate, and violence. A lot of people are asking me if they still can call me Joey. And yes, but always know that Jozeppi Angelo will be the one showing up. I'm so happy to be here with you. I love you, middle family. Until we meet again.